Combat sports fans, it's time for Strong Style, Impact Media's weekly dive into the world of professional wrestling and mixed martial arts. I am your host, Jeremy, the Impact York, friend of El Impacto. I appreciate him making that video over the weekend. I think he's thought out by now. I don't know. We'll see. Uh, love it. Love it, though. Great dude. So much to get into because it has been quite a while since we have done a show. I'm going to recap what December into now has kind of looked like in the MMA world. I am going to also talk some. Let's see. Oh, Raw's Netflix debut. TNA Genesis is coming up. Just a lot, a lot of stuff that is coming up. So, without further ado, let's start with BKFC 69. It was in Atlanta. I got to be there. In fact, yep, look at that. Look at that. You guys see that? That's not there. Well, that's cool. It's a cool path. Um, but had a really great time. I will be honest. I did not know if how I would feel about being live at a bare knuckle event. I can watch it on TV, and I know it is not as brutal as it sounds. Um, but I didn't know. I didn't know how it'd be, and instead, it is one of the purest forms of fighting I've ever seen, and not because they are just to their bare hands. Uh, Even some of the crazier knockouts that we'll get into in a minute were, I mean, just fascinating. Just everybody like, whoa, what is that? Instead of going, oh no, what am I watching? Oh, no. Every fight brought something different, and this was just spectacular, absolutely spectacular. It was over at the Gwinnett Arena, as I call it, but over there in Duluth, fantastic venue for this. It was kind of cool to be standing on the board that was on top of the ice. Pretty, pretty silly down we were. Shout out to the amazing new friends I made while I was down there. I don't want to give too much away because they could be future guests, and just know that they probably will be future guests. But let's talk about some of the fights. I'm obviously going to talk about the main fight, the main five. But shout out to Crystal Van Dyke, who won by unanimous decision over Emma Murray. Uh, One of my favorite fights of the night. Not because it was the female fight. These two dang near tried to wear each other out over 3 rounds, and they both had knockout power. Just neither one were going to give in to that. It was very, very back and forth. I do agree on the unanimous decision for Crystal that I felt like she definitely did win the fight. I would say it was 65-35 or 70-30 in her favor. But man, there were times when Emma was bringing the heat, and just fantastic overall fight. Um, what was the other one? Oh, how about the guest we had on the show? Special guest we had Nathan Rivera. Nate Rivera went up on Justin Street, and man, he had Justin's number from the get go. Justin got some good shots in here and there, but Rivera, he put on a show. He looked like he could have ended it whenever he possibly wanted to, and just didn't. Or I mean, Justin was tough. He was trying to end him, and instead he took him the whole way. And we're gonna have Rivera back on at some point, but fantastic showing. He had such a hometown hero vibe to him. And he actually went into the crowd later on once he got cleaned up and took pictures with a lot of the fans and a lot of his friends. And I've spoken to him since. Like I said, he's going to be back on the show sometime soon. Um, Nate Manass, or Manass, I think is how you say that, got the win over Nick Burgos. Good fight. This is a good fight. Manass, they battled for a good bit to where I wasn't real sure who was actually going to come out the victor, but Manass ended up pulling it in the end. Like I said, every one of these were fantastic. We'll go to the co-main event where we get Joe Elmore, another local hometown guy out of the Atlanta area, fighting against Derek Finley. There was a couple moments in this one. Elmore by far dominated the first couple rounds, but then Finley found a second wind, and it was almost after the referee did a short stoppage before I believe the third round started, so the doctor could check out a cut on Finley. It turned out to be fine, and he seemed to find some momentum, and he evened this up to where when it went into the last round, now he gave it to Finley, and I felt like you could have went either direction on it. I can't argue with if either would have been there. And at some point we might have Joe Elmore on the show. We could have Derek Finley on the show too. But I will tell Joe this on or off this show is that I felt like he put the effort in to win. I felt like he did enough to win, but it was so close that when more of the judges sided with Finley, it's hard to make that argument. I felt like Joe did a lot, but Derek just he did it and he gets the decision. That's how it goes, you know. As Dana White always says, you don't want three judges to decide your fate. You decide it before then, and that was unfortunately how that went. Now, the main event: Keith Richardson versus Michael Larimore. There was a lot of hype. There was a lot of build up. There was more build up actually for the co-main event. But coming off such an exciting fight, that led to this fight, and Larimore was trying to find some good shots to get in on Richardson. And I'll be honest, from the time Richardson came out, he had on cowboy hat, and he was kind of not really skipping, but he was kind of almost two-stepping his way to the I don't know what to call the particular dance he was doing, if it was in particular, but he looked so relaxed that I turned to the other media people beside me and the new friends that I talked about earlier and said one of two things is about to happen. I said either Richardson is going to win in dominating fashion because he is so relaxed, or Larimore is going to catch him early. I don't see this going very late into it because he is so relaxed that either he is going to win in dominating fashion or lose in dominating fashion very quickly. And it was the former. He found a couple shots on Larimore and then dropped him. Absolutely dropped him, and it was all over. And I've never seen anybody that relaxed and that at peace going into a fight. And you know, hats off to Larimore, but Keith Richardson, man, boy, he is going to be a terror if he comes in that relaxed against somebody. He's going to be a terror to try to beat. Moment of the night. Another local guy. Where did this go? Cole Farrell, maybe it's Farrell, took on Justin Watson. Cole, local guy. So Justin Watson comes out and is dang near getting booed out of the building. And he's just looking like, whatever, I'm just here to fight. So there's a Justin Watson that way. Cole Farrell, local kid. I have a local gym. Solid fighter. I think he's got a big wrestling background, does a lot of MMA. He's being cheered almost as much as Nate Rivera, but not quite. I don't know if I don't think they're at the same gym, but I mean he's being cheered like we are fighting in his uncle's backyard. And I was like, wow, that I wonder if that's going to really play into this. And boy, did it. We witnessed history, and by witnessed, from where I am from this ring, I was I'd say I was 40 feet from the ring, and this is how it happens. They're about this far apart. They're about where am I? I'm about this far apart. The referee goes, "Are you ready?" He shakes his head. "Are you ready?" He shakes his head. I'm doing it a lot slower than he did. He goes, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's fight." And we hear, "Ding!" And that's the sound we hear as Cole hits the ground. Watson is standing on him, standing over him. The fastest knockout in combat sport history. They gave it 2 or 3 seconds. It was like it felt like half a second. Uh, my goodness. Cole said later that he thought maybe they were going to tap this tap or something, but I got to bring up Cole. What John McCarthy, Big John McCarthy, always says: always be able to intelligently defend yourself. Never assume that anything like that is going to take place. You got to always be ready from bell to bell. I don't think that's necessarily all of why it happened because Justin Watson was talking to one of the play-by-play guys after the event because I was talking to that play-by-play guy as well, and he said, "I told you, we saw something in the tape that there might be a moment early. Didn't think it'd be that early, but there might be some moment that we think we can take advantage of and try to control the fight." He said, "I didn't even think it would have been that quick." He said, "I thought I was going to get the jump. Did not know that was going to end the fight because his punch, as it came through, hit right here, kind of right behind the ear, and it just light out." And here's the thing: Cole hits flat and is out. But as he hits, he wakes back up and starts to spring up, not realizing he just lost the fight. Referee grabs him and goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" I'm paraphrasing. I couldn't see. Referee's head was away from us, but it looked like he goes, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! You no, 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 no! You were out." And you see him stop and look, and then he realized the referee is the one who had caught him and has him like up over his shoulder like this, and he says, "What happened?" Like, "I know I lost. What happened?" And it looks like he says, "Look at the screen," because you see him kind of turn and look, or I think he looked this way. He turns and looks at the screen and goes, "Oh wow, yeah, yeah, that's gonna be tough." Um, but I told Justin Watson a couple times that night. I said, "You are the baddest man in the building," because for one, who in their right mind wants to fight him right now? And secondly, you got to be a bad man to pull that off. That just crazy, just absolutely crazy. Um, Great overall night. I think they have an event. When is the next BKFC 70? I believe is this Saturday. It is this Saturday. You are going to get. Um, there we go. You're going to get Kurdanov versus Brito. Man, that's fists are going to be flying in that one for the welterweight. The lightweight co-main event is going to be Peralta and Christensen. I gotta find a way to watch this. It's gonna be bad right here. Peterson versus uh is it Sokolotchuk? We're gonna go with that. Thomas versus Driscoll, and Daya versus Godoy, Gonzalez versus Lozano, Avila versus Sejan, Williams and Mata, Valezanor and Sotita, Gutierrez and Martinez. Man, I'll be honest. we had not done a lot of bare knuckle coverage in the past year because for the most part, I mean, a lot of you guys weren't following it as much, so we were still following it. We just weren't covering as much on the show. We're gonna start covering it a lot more. Um, 9 p.m. this Saturday. All kinds of places that go to their app. There's all kinds of places that you can actually buy the pay per view and watch it. And we appreciate them being in Atlanta. This is man, it's fun. I always say nothing like a fight night. There is nothing like a BKFC fight night. It is just so wild, so amazing, so exciting, just spectacular. Speaking of things that are spectacular, let's go to Invicta FC. That on a very chilly night in Atlanta at the Atlanta Dairies, oddly enough, a week before Deep South was there. Invicta 59 took place. Man, nothing like an Invicta fight night either. So fun, so great. I thought it was a cool venue. We'll talk about their venues here in a minute. Just gonna go over them real quick. The main card, so many good fights too. Like I wasn't surprised because when you dig into the people that were involved, they were all seasoned MMA people, and it was gonna be great. But uh, as far as the main card, Fernanda Orellana beat Ashley Barrett by the rear naked choke and right at the end of round number three. She kept trying to cinch in, and Ashley kind of twisted one way to try to get out of it, and when she did, she locked it in. And it was I don't know if she was the one who got the belt upgrade to jiu-jitsu, but Fernanda, fantastic. It was a really good fight back and forth. I thought Ashley was about to take the advantage back, and then Fernanda locked on that rear naked choke, and it was light out. Anna Palacios defeated Monique Adrian by unanimous decision, 29-28 across the board. Good fight. Good solid fight, especially one to follow a rear naked choke. The crowd was actually into this one a little bit, which was interesting because given an exciting finish, a lot of times the next fight, if it goes the distance, people are kind of hit or miss, kind of no. People were cheering for their people, and if you didn't have a side that you had chosen so far, a lot of people were choosing sides, and it was really great. It was a live crowd, a lot of fun. Next fight up was Valeska Machado, who beat Yasmin Castano by unanimous decision, 30-27 on that one. She dominated the whole fight. Definitely earned that one. Yasmin got in some good shots, but Valeska just seemed to always almost know what was coming, and just fantastic. My favorite fight of the night was Paula Bittencourt, who defeated Alejandra Lara by split decision, 29-28, 29-28, 28-29. I agree. I see the judge that they gave Alejandra Lara the extra round in the fight win, but Paula was dominating the action in a majority of the areas, and her coaches were great. She is I believe she's Brazilian. They definitely are, because the entire fight between she had a male and a female coach that were just right in front of us. I would say 10 feet in front of me, and it was you kept hearing Paula and Poha, and look up Poha as far as Brazilian culture, and that is and it was that was what you heard the majority of the fight, and such a they're both great fighters because a friend of mine who I didn't know kept up with Invicta said, "Oh, yeah, you were at the Invicta event?" And I was like, "Yeah, were you?" And he's, "No, no, no, I didn't get a chance to go. But hey, how did Lara do?" And I was like, "Oh, she's really good. She's got some great kicks and everything." But Paula beat her. He seemed surprised, and I was like, "Look, I thought they were pretty even." I said, I get you could side one way or the other. He said, "Yeah, but I thought Lara would just kick the crap out of her just because she's really good with the kicks and all." I said, well, she didn't really. She kicked some, but she didn't kick a lot. She was too busy countering a lot of Paula stuff. He said, man, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it, and I hope he did. I haven't talked to him since, but you know, like I said, that was my favorite fight of the night. And then the main event that would have been my favorite had that one not been so great. Jennifer Maya defeated Talita Bernardo by unanimous decision, 49-46, to win the bantamweight title. She did it in front of fellow UFC alum Tisha Torres, who I need to post these pictures because I met her and her friends, and Tisha couldn't have been nicer. Here's I'll tell the Tisha story after I tell this. Jennifer Maya absolutely dominated. Do you want at least three? If not, if you want to give her the fourth for the 49-46, I understand. Toledo did a few things here and there, but it was Jennifer Maya's night. She was ready to take this, and just outstanding. So here's my Tisha Torres story. So after the event, I'm not gonna tell the whole thing, so you can't give away all the secrets. After the event, I approached her and her friends, and I said, hey, my name's Jeremy. I'm from Impact Media. I'm a big fan of yours, Tisha. You're fantastic. And she said, thank you. And I said, can we get a picture? She could say no. She could say yes. She said, absolutely. And so her friend says, well, give me the camera to this. And we're trying to shoot one angle. And her friend just kind of, and I was like, I said, is it the lighting? And Tisha goes, yeah, is it the lighting? The lighting right here bad? And she shows me the picture. She goes, yes, yes. Well, before I could suggest maybe let's try a different spot, Tisha Torres says, oh, well, let's spin around. This will be different. Let's just do a 180. So we swap places with that, and I'll post a picture. Just class. Yes, absolutely. All three ladies were very classy, very great people. I was very gracious for their time, and then I let them on to their night because I think they were trying to maybe make their exit before other people realized they were still there, and just fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Now, I would be remiss if I do not mention we will talk more about this event coming up, but Invicta 60 on February 7th. That is Friday, February 7th. That is going to be, I believe, at Atlanta Center Stage, where WCW used to tape all the time, and now other people do. We're going to get Ruben versus Kentaria. I'm going to talk more about that card, but Invicta 60, and it is confirmed as of this afternoon. We will be right back there with coverage. Here's the fun thing, too. Here's the fun thing. So as I was in talks to be a member of the media for this, I'm looking at the fight card. I'm just looking at the fight card going, yeah, this is a great card. I know her. Oh, I've heard of her before. And I dig into other ones. And on the opening fight, I see a name, and I know this name. This name is jumping off at me like one of those Vegas lit up signs. And it's because this amazing young woman is I don't want to call her little sister. She is the sister of a great pro wrestling family, and I know her family very well. And it's odd enough that we have never crossed paths, but it was mostly because when I was around her family in the wrestling business, she was usually off doing the MMA and refereeing and things like that. But yeah, we are going to. I'll let you guys try to look over that and try to see who I'm talking about. But just know in the next coming weeks that she's going to be a guest on this show, and it's going to be fantastic to have her on. I thought it's super cool that I'm going to get to cover an event media wise that I know one of the fighters before I get there, and it's not because I just met him to be on the show. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait to talk about the Invicta 60 show coming up. And that leaves us let's talk some Fight Night. UFC Fight Night, Dern versus Ebos 2. And I watched this. I watched this whole thing. Thanks to ESPN Plus. Uh, Great coverage. And thanks UFC for such a cool, killer event. Now, UFC, you're one of the few that we haven't seen here in Atlanta in recent years. Bare Knuckles been here. PFL's been here a couple times. Invicta's about to go back to back. Come on back, Dana. The water's fine. Atlanta is a hotbed for action. You have a ton of East Coast and Southeast and even Georgia fighters on your roster. It'd be a great time to feature them. Could even be a fight night. Just saying. But let's start. Let's start with the Planele Soriano versus Euros Medic. Soriano, man, that smash, absolute smash punch he did to end that fight. Wow, just 31 seconds in, it was just bang. And this comes from somebody that just told you about a 2-second knockout. 31 seconds in, though, Poinele just laid him out. And, man, short fight. Not much to say much more about it. Go back and watch it. That's fantastic. Right after that, Christian Rodriguez got a unanimous decision win over Austin Bashi. Rodriguez controlled the majority of the fight. He definitely won that one. That I don't know if that was Austin Bashi's first loss or not. It might have been his second, but he's a good fighter as well. This was a good featherweight contest. Christian just made sure that he was always in control. You could say this is controversial, but I'm going to tell you already it's not. Chris Curtis lost by TKO 1 second before the end of the fight to Roman Kopylov, who was actually walking away right before the bell. Yeah. What do I mean by that? Well, they were fighting, and Kopylov, who had already dropped Chris Curtis, I think earlier in the round or earlier in the fight, I've been earlier in the fight, does this head kick that is just phenomenal. He catches Chris Curtis, who stumbles, kind of hits the ground, and referee steps in and goes, nope. I think Mark Smith was the referee, and he steps in and goes, it's over. And then the bell rings. And everybody's like, well, did he make it for the bell? And then Mark Smith makes sure that you know. No, I called that over before that rang. And Chris Curtis was confused. Unfortunately, he was about to lose on the scorecard anyway, now that we know what the actual scorecard looked like. It was tied going into round 3, and Kopylov by far won round 3. But the referee's job is to protect the fighters. He is on top of them more than we are. We are just seeing what we see on TV or what we're seeing live. He probably saw a look in Chris Curtis's eyes that said that he may not have been fully there, or he saw something. It may have been a muscle spasm, or he saw something that told him Chris Curtis could be in trouble if I don't stop this fight. He's not watching the clock to go, oh, there's 3 seconds, there's 2 seconds, there's 1 second. I have to stop this. No. I have no problem with the stoppage, no problem with everything there. The only thing I have a problem with, and I have to agree with John Anik on this, I heard him say that, is that Roman Kopylov had a fantastic finish with that head kick and a TKO victory, very well deserved over Chris Curtis, who is no slouch. And all they want to talk about is controversy. First off, there's no controversy, and congratulations, Roman Kopylov, for such a great victory. Chris Curtis will rebound. He'll get another good fight. It's fine. Kopylov to get a better fight next time. Like, not better than Chris Curtis. Like, he's going to get a higher ranked one as he's going to move up. Cesar Almeida with the great TKO win over Abdul Razak Al Hassan. Al Hassan, man, I really thought he was going to come in and be a terror. And right before the end of round 1, those punches from Almeida, he got him. He got him. And you could argue that Almeida is not quite as skilled as Al Hassan. And I would argue that doesn't matter. He's now 1-0 over. Great win. Santiago Ponzinibbio over Carlston Harris. He caught him with the punches, and Ponzinibbio, man, he looked phenomenal in this fight. I don't remember if he's a Ray Luongo disciple or not, but man, Ponzinibbio, he was on it. This is one of the most put together fights I've seen from him in a little bit. Not that the other one's been bad, but he knew that he wanted to win this, and Harris got some shots in, but Ponzinibbio put on a show. Now, speaking of somebody that put on a show, Mackenzie Dern wins over Amanda Yibas with an arm bar. Just a few seconds before the end of round number 3, they were going to go 5 rounds. I don't think they were going to go that long. Yibas, who had never been submitted before. Yibas, who I believe is a jiu-jitsu black belt. Doesn't mean you can't get caught. Dern kept working and working and working and working and working and working and working. And when Yibas went to counter one thing, Dern slapped it on, popped back, and by the time she popped back, it didn't matter how many seconds were left. She's like, get her off my arm before it snapped. Mackenzie Dern, like it or not, whether she likes it or not, is looking at a title shot very, very soon. I think probably 2 fights from now. I think she's got to be in the top 5, if not top 6. She's got to be top 5. After that, I would say she'll fight somebody in the top 5 and then title shot. I know she's wanting to slow burn it and slow build it. I know they're wanting to kind of do that too, but she might be the next bigger star to come out of the women's division, possibly out of the UFC. She's star in the making. She's real close. And I look forward to it. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Now, UFC 311 from the Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California is this weekend. As always, I like to tell you about the main fights, and then I'll mention a couple other ones that I like. Fight number 5, I believe, could open up the pay-per-view. And according to this, the rest of the card is ESPN News, FX, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus, just depending on which part of it. Starting the pay-per-view, you're going to get Beneil Dariush as a plus 140 dog to Renato Moicano, who is a minus 170 favorite. I got this one pretty even, honestly. I think Moicano has the better opportunity to win, but I think Dariush has something, and I think he's going to find a way to pull this one off. I take Dariush in this one. Yuri Prohaska is a plus 115 dog in the light heavyweight division against Jamal Hill, who is a minus 135 favorite. These two are pretty even. Yuri apparently can just jump up and down in weight classes, and it doesn't seem to affect him. Because I thought he was talking about going down a weight class, and all of a sudden he hops up to the light heavyweight to take on Jamal Hill, who had that horrific injury, did he not, when he was the champion? And I think that's he's looking to rebound and get back in the picture there. But Yuri's another one that he might be the first UFC fighter to win belts in 3 different divisions. Right. It could definitely happen. I'm a big Yuri fan, but I just feel like Jamal Hill is going to take this one, and he's going to shoot right back up to the top, get right back in the title picture, maybe take his belt back. I don't know. I have this feeling. Like I said, I'm a big Yuri fan. I just think Jamal Hill's going to do it. In the co-main event, Merab Davishvili is a plus 230 dog against Umar Nurmagomedov, a minus 280. This is for the bantamweight title. Ooh, like picking your favorite kid. That'd be hard to do. Be real hard to do. I feel like if Merab wins, I think it will be more from the strike. Even though I think his wrestling's good, I don't know that you want to go the round with him either. But Nurmagomedov is very good at wrestling as well. Davishvili is good at wrestling. I mean, it's like this. Whatever somebody's strength is the other's weakness. And whatever somebody's weakness is the other one's strength. Ooh, this might be fight of the night if the main event doesn't steal it. I'm gonna say I will take Marab 51-49. It's that close to me. I I'm glad that I'm not putting actual money on this, and I'm glad that I do not have to absolutely pick a winner. I'm gonna take Marab. I'm gonna take Marab. Um, Main event for the lightweight title: Islam Makhachev, a minus 320 favorite, versus Arman Sarukian plus 250. Islam is a bad, bad man. We know that. Islam could potentially be better than his coach. Look it up. Um, I don't know. I just feel like Sarukian might have something here. If this goes 5 rounds, maybe Sarukian 3-2. But I think the two of these are going to want to end this early. Don't know if it's going to be submission or knockout or stoppage or something. But I'm going to say this doesn't go past the 3rd round. I think these two are going to just take it out on each other, and it's worth ordering the pay-per-view just for those last 2 fights, let alone the other 3 I said before it. Give me Sarukian in the small upset. Other fights of note: Kevin Holland versus Renier de Ritter, Jalton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. Sergey, one of the nicest people I've ever met in the fight game. Grant Dawson versus Diego Ferreira. Carol Rosa versus Eileen Perez. And is it Turquoise or Turquoise? Ricky's facing Bernardo Supaj. Just outstanding, spectacular event. Outstanding. Just UFC, their fight nights are loaded. It helps when you have like 1,000 fighters, but I mean, their fight nights are loaded. Their pay-per-views are just video game. Put your favorite people in there, and just absolutely great. Last thing I'll say fight-wise, PFL made the announcement that they have done away with the season format. It is now, I believe, 8-person tournament, kind of Bellator style. Bellator's done. They phased that out finally, and they are now going to do the 8-person tournaments that are going to start in April in each of the weight classes, and they will go from there. And I like it. I didn't have a problem. Didn't have a problem with the season stuff. I'm not like everybody else. It's like, oh, it's not like this, or oh, it's bad. It's like this. They set rules, they set parameters, and they say if you want to abide by these rules and these parameters, sign here. And you have the option to sign it or the option to not. So, fighters knew what they were getting into. If they didn't like it, they just stay out the next time. I believe they're still going to do the $1 million payouts at the end, which is really cool. What I think could happen is, see, this year you establish all of your champions. So what I would do is I would do all these tournaments, and at the end you crown your champions. So you have all your champions. I think it was 7 or 8 of them. So here's your champions, right? Champions all right here. So the next season you have another tournament, and the winner of that takes on your champion. But in the meantime, the champion is going to fight a couple times throughout the year as well. It could be special grudge matches, could be just maybe the top contenders that are not in the tournament, or all kinds of stuff. That's me personally. PFL didn't ask my opinion. That's just me talking. But a lot of people are applauding them going to the Bellator style tournaments, and they are applauding the change in format and everything. And I just say come back to Atlanta, because once again, whether it's PFL, whether it's bare knuckle, whether it's deep South wrestling, it doesn't matter. Any of the stuff we cover here, and even a lot of stuff we don't cover on this show, there's nothing like a fight night with all of this mixed martial arts and pro wrestling. There just legitimately is nothing like it. Speaking of nothing like it, TNA Genesis is coming up this weekend. It's going to be on the 19th. That is tomorrow? No. Day the 16th. That's going to be on Sunday. They are actually on Sunday pay-per-view. And in Garland, Texas. And here are the matches we were looking at. Frankie Kazarian taking on Leon Slater. It's just a regular match. That's on the pre-show. That should be fun. Normally, I would say Leon Slater should win that, but Frankie Kazarian currently holds your basically Money in the Bank trophy. I think you got to give him a win there. He can underhandedly do it, but until he catches in, you got to keep him with some momentum. Moose is going to defend the TNA X Division Championship against Ace Austin. I think Ace Austin is going to take it. Quick announcement too is that NXT and TNA are going to be working together more and more based on an announcement we saw earlier today, which is going to be fantastic. I think somebody like Ace Austin could really be a bigger breakout single star if they start interweaving him into some matchups in NXT. I think he could thrive in a place like that because he's faced almost everybody in TNA. That's what you want to do. That's just definitely what you want to do. Is fresh opponents for people and places for them to shine. There are some big time people that I want to see Ace Austin against. I think he's going to start by winning the X Division. Then he can defend it over there if he wants. Spitfire, which is Jody Threat and Danny Luna, big fan of them, are going to defend their TNA women's tag belts against Ash and Heather by Elegance. I'll be honest. They like to kind of let everybody have a turn with the tag belts sometimes. Not that they're not deserving, because Ash and Heather by Elegance have been a really formidable team. I think Spitfire's the better team, but I think Ash and Heather by Elegance are going to be the World Tag Team Champions here, and I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. Gives Luna and Thread a chance to do some singles things or to take a step back, maybe take a break for a second. It gets to be pretty taxing being the champion, but they'll be all right. Josh Alexander is going to take on Mike Santana any other time, but right now I would say Josh Alexander wins that. But I feel like he is either about to take a break, about to call it quits, or just he's taking a step back, I think. And Mike Santana could be the next big star. He's another one that could do well in NXT. But I think Mike Santana wins this. I think it is going to be outstanding. Jordan Grace against Tessa Blanchard in a match that will be absolutely brutal because the two of them, I don't know if they like each other or not, but it sure don't look like they do on TV. And eventually Tessa is going to take over as one of the more dominant people in TNA because Jordan Grace's contract is coming up, and more than likely she's going to sign with WWE. But you still may see her a good bit because she'll probably start in NXT, which is where I would want to be. That's where all the big international stars are. But you also got to think is this partnership, Jordan could re-sign with TNA and still wrestle a lot in NXT and WWE, and so can Tessa. So can Tessa. Now, a lot of you guys don't know who Tessa is. You're about to. The Hardys, Jeff and Matt, are going to defend their tag belts against the Rascals, Trey Miguel and Zach Wentz. I know Matt Hardy has said he wants to defend the TNA tag belts in NXT and in WWE, which is great and fantastic, except for I think the Rascals should win the tag belts here. The Rascals have more than earned the chance to hold the tag belts again, and I think they are the better representation of TNA going forward. That's nothing against the Hardys. Just it frees up the Hardys to do fun things in WWE. Masha Slamovich is going to defend the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Rosemary in a Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, a.k.a. Weapons, Weapons, Weapons. Not the world's biggest fan of it, but if any two are going to have a weapons match, it's Masha and Rosemary. This is going to be the weirdest and wildest thing you have seen in a long time. I would think Masha retains because I want to see Masha versus Tessa Blanchard, but give Rosemary another title run. I'm cool with that too. I keep saying all these title changes, but this one I would bet your house on. Bet your house on. Keep that in mind. Your house. Nick Nemeth is going to defend the TNA World Championship against Joe Hendry. I don't know about you guys, but I believe in Joe Hendry. This is where I would move the belt. If you don't move it any other time of the entire night, Joe Hendry needs to be your new TNA World Championship World Champion. You can let him defend in NXT for all I care. Uh, Nick's had a really good run, and I appreciate that he's done it, and I don't mind if he has another one down the road. I just think if you don't put the belt on Joe Hendry, he's going to go somewhere that will, because his contract, I believe, is coming up as well. I would be talking to him all day, every day until he resigns, and try to keep him around and show where you're going to build around him and hope that he stays. But it's going to be fantastic. Make sure to look on there and figure out when whenever your cable satellite stream, however you do it, is going to um, showcase everything. And I should have watched that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm gonna try to watch that. That's on Sunday. We have football on one. We'll do that on the other. Well, that'd be good. Raw on Netflix. I thought it was great. I thought it was absolutely spectacular. Um, I like the big fight feel they have for it, and the tonight's show title, big fight feel. Triple H coming out, The Rock coming out, only having 5 matches. It had that pay-per-view feel. Um, you had Roman and Solo for the Ulafala, and to ultimately be the head of the table. And of course, Roman wins that, which was fantastic. Good match. This is one of Solo's better matches, and I just don't know if maybe it's because Roman brought the best out of him. He's just had some weird matchups lately, but this was one of the best Solo matches I've seen since his NXT days. And in NXT, he was balling. Good to see Roman win. That was the tribal combat match. Good to see Heyman back like that. We'll see where they go from here. I have not watched this week's. I need to, because I know some people that I met last year made their debut, and I look forward to that. And anybody that saw El Impacto's video knows that is a Penta Senior mask, I believe. Is That's what my good buddy Eric Adams told me. Is that the Halloween mask for Penta Senior? So that made that mask even cooler. Wish I would have wore it when I met him, but didn't. But they had everybody in the world come out during that match, which was just kind of fitting of the whole. There's so many people involved in that bloodline storyline, but in the end, Roman gets it. Fantastic. Cena came out. Good to see Cena. Hoping to see him Monday Night Raw coming up in a couple weeks. Is the 27th is when, so not this coming up Monday, but the one after. WWE is going to be at State Farm Arena. Hoping to be there for that. Who am I kidding? I'm going to be there for that. Liv lost her title to Rhea Ripley. I did not understand it, but I think I do now. Dom and Raquel tried to help, and apparently, after Rhea won, Becky Lynch was supposed to come out, and instead they let the American BA Undertaker on his motorcycle come out and have a cool moment with Rhea Ripley. That was interesting, because Penta was supposed to make his debut as well, and they waited till this week for that. The Undertaker Rhea, I guess it makes more sense, because Becky wasn't going to immediately step back in, I guess. But interesting that it got scrapped, is all I'll say. Travis Scott coming down with Jey Uso was a good moment. Jey took on Drew McIntyre, who I still say, if Drew McIntyre doesn't win the world title by like WrestleMania, then I don't know what WWE is doing. That dude is screaming main event star. And let him be the one to beat Cody, or I don't know, just something. But he lost to Jey by roll up, which made sense, because that doesn't hurt him as much, and it helps Jey with the win. Hogan and Jimmy Hart were the most surprising part of the night. I did not realize how many people were sticking to political views, and Hogan basically got booed out of the building, but he still stayed out there and did his promo and promoted his beer and some other stuff like that. And even Jimmy Hart just kind of looked taken aback that Hogan would be booed as much as he was. But 2025, folks, nothing is that surprising in wrestling anymore because everything is always crazy. And then we got Seth versus CM Punk. Of course, CM Punk gets the win there. It's another one that Seth can take losses and it doesn't seem to affect him, his standing or anything like that. And CM Punk getting that win helped him out a lot more. And it was a good way to end the show. It was actually a great way to end the show. And a good way to lead into SmackDown on Friday. Things that happened on Friday that you needed to know. Chelsea Green defended her U.S. title against Meaton. Another good matchup between those two. Chelsea as the winner, as the U.S. title holder, is awesome. Absolutely awesome. Other than that, Shinsuke and LA Knight for that belt was a really good match until Tama and Fatu come down, then Jimmy and Cody come down, and LA Knight's now somewhere in the bloodline stuff, and it took away from what could have been a fantastic match. But you got to keep the belt on Shinsuke, and that makes a lot of sense. I really enjoy what Nakamura is doing right now. Motor City Machine Guns beat A-Town Down Under in what I thought was A-Town Down Under's best match in a long time. Good to see them back on TV. I like that team a lot. Motor City Machine Guns I've seen for their whole career, and they're fantastic. But A-Town Down Under is just such an underutilized team. I feel like they could do a lot more with them. If not going to, split them up because you're wasting their time at that point. Um, Tiffany Stratton come down, and she watched Nia and Bailey and Naomi and Bianca all go for the number one contender spot. Ended up going to Bailey. I like it. I like it. It's a good first opponent for Stratton, I think. And a pretty solid match. Nia is very underrated. I think people think for her size that she doesn't do much, but she does so much stuff. A lot of stuff you just don't realize, and does a spectacular job with it. I thought her and Bailey really carried this match. Naomi had some good moments, and so did Bianca, but it seems like we know what's going on with that. At some point, we're going to figure out that Naomi is the one who put Jade out, and you're going to get those two partners go at each other, and then you're going to get Jade and Bianca go at each other. I think maybe in a different order. Uh, and the only thing significant about Tama and Fatu versus Cody and Jimmy is that Fatu got a clean win over Jimmy, and that KO come out and drop Cody again. I look forward to those moments the entire time. I like Cody Rhodes a lot. I like Kevin Owens a lot. The Kevin stuff right now is off the charts great. This is more like the independent scene KO, and it's awesome. Absolutely awesome. We get into NXT. NXT had Corey Graves on it, which was interesting. Apparently he said some derogatory comments or something about WWE, and he got pulled from his main gig and put on NXT. I like him. I like him anywhere. Maybe they're just going to shuffle everything up again, but you know, we're behind you, Corey. Him and Booker and Vic did a fantastic job all night. Julia beat Roxanne to become the new world champion, even though Cora come down and tried to help. I like it. I like it a lot. Roxanne had a great run. I think she deserves a break a little bit to step back a second. That women's division, that NXT women's division, might be the best in all of the organizations. It's just so loaded, and the next wave is crazy too. Now to become the number one contender for the North American women's title, Cora Jade, Kalani Jordan, Lola Vice, and Stephanie Vaquer all had an amazing match with Stephanie ended up with the win there. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That's gonna, her is the North American champion, and Julia as the heavy or the not heavyweight the women's main champion. I think is going to be really really good. Um, What else was they had a big fight feel for NXT this week too. Trick took on Obafemi and Thorpe in the main event. Uh, Most notable thing here, Thorpe came out late because supposedly he was injured or I'm not sure exactly. Um, Obafemi is going to be the next big breakout star in NXT, and he is now the world heavyweight champion of NXT. Good luck beating him. Ah, it's going to take a lot. I don't know that Trick can beat him straight up. Thorpe definitely can't. I'm looking at their roster. I don't know who's going to beat Obafemi. He's going to be really, really tough. He's probably going to hold the belt until they move him up. And I bet that happens sooner rather than later. I would say post WrestleMania, maybe. If not, SummerSlam. Uh, Other than that, glossed right over that. Completely missed that. Um, Lexus King won the cup from Charlie Dempsey. And I mean, he's the rightful winner of the cup. I knew big things were going to happen for Lexus. Talked to him a little bit when he was in Deep South doing some stuff, and so happy for him. Absolutely happy for him. As far as AEW this week, you had Osprey versus Buddy Matthews. That was a 10-star out of 5 match. Yeah, 5 star twice over. Um, Actually, lastly, Mark Briscoe was pretty good. The Casino Gauntlet match to be the number one contender to face Moxley. Hobbs ended up winning that one. Once again, good, solid opponent. It's going to help Hobbs out a lot too to get boosted up after coming back off that big injury. Him and Moxley will be. It'll be a good match. It'll really bring out a lot of Hobbs that you haven't seen. But there's no way Moxley's going to lose that. But the build up to it is been really good so far. MJF, Jeff Jarrett, if that is going to be the next thing Jeff Jarrett does, it's going to help both of them. And you can see the mutual respect. You can tell who MJF respects and who he doesn't, and how much respect he has. He heavily respects Jeff Jarrett, and that's what makes MJF a different style cat for sure. But I look forward to those two meeting. That should be really fun. I can't call him Ed. I'm going to call him Adam Copeland. I'm not calling him. This will be the last time I call him this. Call him Cope. I am. It's Adam Copeland. It's hard enough not to say Ed. Adam Copeland seems to try to insert himself into the heavyweight title picture. Him and Mox will have a good match, but I don't know. Get him out of the way. He seems to be more in the way. Uh, what else was there? Tony Storm, Willow, and Statlander for the number one entry into the Casino Battle Royal was interesting. Statlander winning makes a lot of sense because the way those work is that you start with two people, and as soon as the first phone or the first pinfall or submission happens, the match is over. So it can happen with the first two. It can happen with 3 people out there, 4 people, 5. You may not even get through the whole list of people that's in the gauntlet. It's the first pinfall or submission. So you want to be towards the beginning, and we'll see with Statlander there. But to be the number one contender for winning that, Tony Storm is actually going to have to build up a little bit because her reset doesn't quite compute with it. I'm not sure who they're going to put against Mariah. They've let her face a lot of people already, but well, maybe Statlander could be pretty good. Kenny Omega coming out. I don't care about the Callis family coming out after that. The Callis family does good stuff, but Kenny Omega's back, and that's the most important piece of this entire thing there because Collision, even though it was in Athens and looked like a fantastic event, I know some people that went. They said it was amazing. Pac versus Commander was outstanding match, and Yuta and Claudio versus the Outrunners, absolutely great. Harley versus Mariah. Harley Cameron is just gets better and better every time she's out there, and I felt like she really pushed Mariah. Um, Shout out to Trevor Blackwell, by the way. I met him at a Mucha Lucha show. He is super. Do I have it? I don't have it. I have a signed picture of his somewhere. Super cool kid. And he took on Brody King, bless his heart. Brody wiped the floor with him, but Trevor, you look good in there, buddy. Your mechanics and everything look good, and good to see you back on TV. Shibata versus Garcia was hyped more than it was a good solid match, but it was hyped way too much. And Jericho cheating to win over Dax Harwood. The highlight of Jericho being in Athens was the video he had of the throwback bed and breakfast or whatever that he was staying at. That was really, really cool. I'm gonna have to look that up in Athens. Next time I'm up that way, maybe I'll try to stay up that way. But other than that, we have talked for, I don't know, feels like an hour and a half, might have been an hour. And I've went through so many different things. Keep in mind, Invicta 60 is coming up in early February. We've got we may actually have a guest on next week because we have the Georgia Wrestling Awards that are coming up the 26th, the day before Raw. We will be at that. In fact, I've got to get on the horn and get that taken care of here in a second. And UFC 311 this weekend, TNA Genesis, so much going on. There's so much MMA and pro wrestling going on that you can't tell me that there's not something great going on this weekend. If you're in the Greenville, South Carolina area, go by the New Realm Brewery. Say hello to the Deep South Wrestling guys. Eric and crew are out there this month. They'll be out there next month. Sometime in March, you will see Mucha Lucha ATL back. I believe that's 16th. And I believe the weekend after that, the 23rd or 24th, I believe, is when you will see New Realm here in Atlanta hosting our Deep South Wrestling buddies. But I think that's all that I can come up with for this return show. I promise we will be back each and every week. We're going to have guests. It's going to be so much fun. But until then, I am Jeremy the Impact York. This has been another great edition of Strong Style. We will see you guys next week. Deuces, gooses. Go watch wrestling. Go watch fighting.